Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hot Takes Valorant Edition. Back with Zach as always. I'm going to hit you with it straight away, Zach. Are you Team Rob or are you Team Kaplan?
I'm team whatever is good for Sentinels so they don't look shit like they did at kickoff. So yeah, going by everything that's happened, I'm sure we're gonna do a quick breakdown of that, Lee. But going by everything that happened, it seems like I would say there's error on both sides, but I would say mainly Sentinel's side for letting Kaplan get away with everything that he did, quote unquote. So I don't know. I'm pretty torn between this. That said, I think people do need a bit more PR training sometimes. That's where I stand on the issue. But what about you? What do you think?
Um, I think decisions in terms of team stuff, probably Team Rob. I say Team Kaplan. Kaplan still made no public mention of anything yet.
Yet.
If I was him, I wouldn't be. I mean, I would probably be logged off of all social media and that. I don't imagine he was having a nice evening. But we are, of course, hinting at Kaplan's firing from the Sentinels. Not even benched. He's fully out,
Mhm.
like severed contract. I guess it probably wouldn't be the same as a player contract. I don't know exactly how it works for coaches, or if maybe they had a clause that he was able to just cut it, or they had, or they've come to an agreement of a payoff or what. No idea. But what emerged overnight was that Kaplan is out of Sentinels and Ewok has joined. So Ewok's break after his time with RRQ has been cut pretty short, and he now finds himself in the hot seat in probably the most scrutinized job he could have gotten. But that's not all, because the whole scenario regarding how it's been handled is also a bit mental. Um, Rob Moore does like to talk, I think. Um, the first thing, let's maybe just start with the announcement, and we can kind of pick bits out of this. For starters, on Rob Moore's Twitter, this is not an announcement that came from Sentinels the org. It came on his actual X account, saying that following their 9th 10th finish at kickoff, they've announced the departure of Kaplan effective immediately, and Ewok is joining to replace him. And the quote: Ewok has shown his ability to develop a winning VCT roster as he led RRQ to an APAC Stage 1 championship in 2025, as well as qualifying for Champions Paris. He impressed us with his ability to develop a structure to build long-term improvement in a team. Kaplan had a successful tenure over the last 2 years, including bringing home a Masters trophy from Madrid in 2024. Our performance at Champs 2025 was disappointing, and the roster decisions Kaplan has made to address these issues have sent us in the wrong direction. That immediately,
Mm.
I was reading that, and I sort of woke up and doing it, like, scrolling in the morning, and read that. I was like, a little bit of a double take. That kind of woke me up before I had my coffee. Thinking, did he really just say it like that bluntly? Yes, he did. Kaplan has made the roster decisions Kaplan made to address the issues have sent us in the wrong direction. Yeah, that was kind of the first, like, oh shit, that's a bit. He's not holding back here.
On the nose.
Exactly. There was a quote from Ewok that he's, obviously very excited to join, blah, blah, blah. And on the timing of the rebuild, Rob Moore says, "We don't make decisions like this lightly, but you also don't believe in waiting when it is clear we're in the wrong path. When we saw at kickoff, what we saw at kickoff wasn't just a result issue. The team wasn't developing the chemistry we needed. Rather than let that continue, we're making changes now to give ourselves the best chance to qualify for Champs 2026.
Mm.
So maybe first off, let's talk about the decision itself, because I do think if you're going to make a change, it always seems harsh doing stuff after kickoff, because you basically had 3 weeks of actual play, and then you've scuppered up your whole plans. And obviously, when you make your team, you plan it for the year. That said, I feel like if you do feel like things are going in totally the wrong direction, then that is the time to do it, because you've actually got you've got the whole season ahead of you. It's kind of, yeah, cutting your losses early rather than like a sunk cost kind of thing where you're dragging it out and maybe it doesn't turn around. Just look at Fnatic last year. Probably weren't in as much of a disaster as
They
Sentinels
made
were,
two finals,
but yeah,
you
they
know?
they were very proactive in making a switch. Again, it wasn't major, no roster, no player changes, just getting rid of Elmer Puddy, and then Milan stepped in,
Up,
from
yeah.
assistant head coach, and yeah, suddenly they're in 2 finals, 3 if you count EWC, and they were like arguably the best team across the year, which was a shame that they didn't win nothing. But
Consistently,
um,
yeah.
clearly, this issue with Sentinels is much deeper. Like, it's not. It doesn't feel like a coaching change would be the immediate thing. And what we'll talk about in a minute is that clearly roster moves are on the way. But just what were your thoughts,
hmm
kind of initially, on KAPLAN going and Ewok coming in?
I mean, I'm very happy to see Ewok coming back into tier one, irrespective of what organization he's with, because I think the point that Rob made about Ewok joining RRQ and them going from basically not being able to even like make it to playoffs half the time to
Yeah.
consistently not only like making playoffs but also like they said making it to champs and also winning like a whole stage was pretty incredible as an achievement. They looked really good this year as well. I mean, in kickoff, I think the only disappointing result that they had, even though he's not coaching them anymore, I think the structure and the roster that he built still is the roster that's playing. So I think that he was able to definitely have a lot of impact with the kind of team structure that he had in place, and Sentinels could really use a bit of that. That said, I mean, it's also like the things that Rob Moore openly said, yeah, about KAPLAN. I mean, it also seemed like KAPLAN had a kind of insane degree of control on the roster that you usually don't see teams give. Or if they give it to like a full degree rather than this half-assed kind of stuff where it's like, okay, yeah, you can do what you like, but if you don't like it, we're gonna be bitchy about it on social media and stuff, and we're gonna crucify you for it online and possibly fire you. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird place to be in because if you think about it, like I was telling you before, it's kind of what happened with NRG if you think about it in 2025. Like they signed Bonkar. Bonkar said he didn't want FNS, he wanted Scuba. He wanted to change things around a bit, and NRG weren't happy that it was going to that degree. So they removed him, put Chet back, and they basically got their asses kicked really badly. So they brought back Bonker for stage two, and that we all saw how that went. That went really well. So yeah, in theory, coaches can have ideas that, when implemented, could completely change like the path of a team. I think that it's definitely something that we did see with Ewok in RRQ, so it's something that Sentinels could use a positive degree on. But that said, I mean, at the end of the day, it is kind of like a professional position to be in, a CEO for an org, especially a big org like Sentinels. So it's a little bit, if not malicious, at least irresponsible to dump this much, because at the end of the day, it is also clear that there is some degree of autonomy for players. And um, I mean, you were talking about the roster changes and stuff. Before we talk about future roster changes, a lot of this debate seems to be about Zekken, who left for MIBR. And when Rob Moore was asked about Zekken in the offseason, when I was writing the article, I remember watching those clips, and he was saying something like, yeah, I mean, Zekken wanted to move because Aspas asked him to move. And he wanted to play with Aspas. And of course, he didn't say it, but it was pretty clear that the buyout for someone like Zekken is going to be like an insane number.
Yeah, because what he'd
And
said,
MIBR.
because that stuff's doing the rounds now. Where on Plat Chat, when he talked about Zekken leaving, he said that it was something along the lines of like they made Zekken an offer, and then when Zekken told Rob Moore what the offer
A
was,
software
Rob
you
Moore
can't
told
refuse,
him,
yeah.
"Okay, fair enough, you've got to go." Now, obviously, at that moment, while KAPLAN was the coach, I guess you wouldn't expect him to come out and say, "Well, no, KAPLAN didn't really want him," or da da da. But that's something that now it seems to be no mention at all. Maybe let's go through the things that came up on his streams then, and then we can start picking
hmm
those apart. So that was just the initial announcement that even there was a bit strong, and maybe borderline unprofessional just from that one line. And then Rob Moore does a stream, and also I think it was on Tarek's stream, just going
Yeah.
into all this different stuff, and the more he was talking, the more I was thinking, what are you doing, man? You're a CEO, and he's not like I get it, like there's I mean, it's kind of a thing with esports where a lot of these teams come from people that are former players, and they start a team, and suddenly the team gets popular, and now they're a CEO of a company that's got invested millions and millions, and they're some immature guy, just trying to run a company, and they're doing this stupid shit like this. Rob Moore is like a long-term executive from like film studios. He's in a proper investor. Like he's does stuff with like Cronky Sports. Is like a huge sports investment company or like ownership group. This is not like some random like premature or immature guy. Like I couldn't believe what you were saying. So just to go through the bullet points, and I'm just going off. This
hmm
is someone on Reddit that had collated it. Um,
Nice of them to do our job first
yeah,
sometimes.
very nice. First one, KAPLAN didn't want Zekken as duelist, and this is where some stuff Rob later clarified, because I feel like he's either misspoke or he's kind of given an implication of something that
Emotional.
wasn't quite true. So what kind of it sounded like initially was that Kaplan wanted Zekken off dual list, and it kind of was implied that when he first spoke about it that they just didn't want Kaplan at all, and they just let him go, and then MIBR came in and swooped in and got him. So Kaplan didn't want Zekken on dual list. He didn't want johnqt as IGL. What he wanted, the only parts Kaplan apparently was certain he wanted to keep, was he wanted Zellsis on IGL, and he wanted to keep Narrate and have him on dual list. And then the other three were up in the air, apparently. So that's what he said first of all. Then there was a bunch of stuff about kind of, what they do moving forward. So they're saying that now johnqt is going to go back to IGL. He basically said for sure that Kyu is out. But then he was kind of weirdly speaking around roster moves, saying like, oh, I can't say that someone's out because technically we have to have a 5-man roster at all times. So he doesn't want to say someone's out, but basically did say Kyu's out. And then he was hinting at Narrate being out, but again wouldn't say it outright. He was just saying, there will be tryouts. He was even saying that when the tryouts start tomorrow, I think. So he was giving all this way over the top, way too much information really than what the public needed to hear from him, and was very clearly pointing the finger at Kaplan. So he was saying
he also, just one more thing to add there, he also said it was so bad, the disagreements about all this stuff, that we almost had Tarek fucking playing in their game
I
against
saw that enough one.
Furia.
I think he was saying it was a visa thing, I'm pretty sure he said.
Really?
Was
Against
it for
Furia? No, I
Kyu?
don't think any of the 10 players have visa issues, even
Oh
Kyu.
shit.
He's from tier 2, right? He's been in
but I
the
thought
States for a while.
Oh right, maybe. I feel like I've heard him say visa
Furia
thing.
is having
But yeah, he
visa
definitely
issues
said
right
that.
now.
He definitely.
Alum is having visa issues, I heard.
Yeah, but they definitely said that Kyu was almost subbed out
Are you sure it's not
against Furia.
Cortezia? Because it's usually the Brazilians who struggle
No,
with
because he definitely
American
said he was
visas.
gonna. Tarek almost played instead of Kyu. He definitely said Kyu.
Because Kyu is Canadian, right? He shouldn't really have
Canadian,
visa
Bosnian.
issues.
I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Apparently
Weird.
Tarek almost played an official match for him.
That would have been funny.
Redux will change role. He loves Cortesia, so he wants to stay. So he's saying oh yeah, we're probably going to do another roster change, but I can't say who. But also Redux is going to stay. johnqt's on IGL. Cortesia, I really love him, and we're going to make 2 roster changes, but I can't say who they are. Okay, fair enough.
No shit.
He's also publicly wanting TENS to come back. He's saying he'd have Zekken back.
I mean, to be fair about the TENS thing, Lee, I can understand. Because if you think about it, both the trophies that SEN have won were with TENS. They haven't won a single thing without TENS. They haven't even been able to win Americas in the last year and a half. So I think I understand that.
That's a problem they've got, because they need to get past that as being their whole identity. If you can't, it feels weird. You think of Sentinels, you think of TENS, plus also kind of being the drama org, which I guess this is bang on the money here. So fair enough. He said that if Zekken was ever a free agent again, he'd be calling him straight away. So he's very, very hung up on losing Zekken.
The one that got away.
Yeah. So it said once they decided Kyu was IGL, they needed John back for firepower rather than keeping Zellsis, and obviously Zellsis went to C9. Gunter is staying as assistant coach. What else we got? He said Rob says he would have rather kept the same 5-man as last year, or maybe sub one of them out for Redux. He didn't. Basically, he thought getting to all the internationals was, paraphrasing, but getting to all the internationals, being second place twice in NA. To him, he kind of came across as though he didn't feel like a total roster rebuild is needed off of that. Which I think it's, you can frame it that way and say, yeah, okay, second, third, and we went to all 3 internationals, but I don't feel like anyone really saw that as a successful year for Sentinels. I don't feel like their fans were exactly pleased with how the year went. So I don't think when they did the rebuild, I don't think there was anyone thinking, oh, this is a bit strong, the amount of changes they're making. I didn't see any reaction like that. So I think that's kind of
the opposite. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, a bit of hindsight on that one. And he said he didn't think Kaplan's a bad coach, but just that he's made bad decisions. And also, so one of the big points of this that he revealed is that Kaplan had in his contract that he had the final say on roster decisions, or a final say on who would be the roster. So I feel like this is maybe, I don't want to say it's overblown, because that is quite a mad clause in the contract that I've never heard of anyone having before. I don't think it doesn't scream to me that KAPLAN can go out and pick any 5 players he wants, and the org has to sign them, and the org has no say so, because he said that he wanted Zellsis and N4RRATE. Zellsis ain't there, so I'm not sure KAPLAN's got the actual 100% of the control. The way I see it is that if Sentinels want to sign a player, then sure, he has to sign off on it. But if he wants to bring a player in, to me it sounds like the org could shut it down. Like I don't think it sounds like he's got quite the amount of unilateral control as was let on, because he's all of this was agreed to. I don't think they would sign players if the org themselves don't kind of trust him to or whatnot. Again, it's a weird clause to have. And Rob said on that stream that he would never do it again, never let a coach have that kind of control again.
Or Ewok, he comes in with his hands tied.
Oh my god!
Some degree.
I was thinking, like, imagine you're Ewok and you just join, and then you see him coming out like this.
We had one fucker do this to us already.
Listen,
have a nice day.
No coach is going to be at the same org forever, and I'm thinking in a year's time, if things don't go quite right with Ewok, if I was him, I'd be thinking, bloody hell, what's he going to say about me when I leave one day? But anyway, so that was kind of what came out of those streams. Zekken then streamed himself, and on his stream he said that he was in talks with Sentinels. So what was later clarified by Rob was that it wasn't that they didn't want Zekken at all. It's that KAPLAN wanted N4RRATE on duelist, so they agreed on that. And then it seems like sometime later they decided, let's keep Zekken and try and move him onto smokes. And that's when they started to negotiate with Zekken, at which point he was already talking to other teams and was already talking to MIBR. So what seems like what has been amiss for them, and like definitely is a point against KAPLAN, is it seems like once they decided they could get him, that once they decided that they wanted to keep him, it's at the point where he can already talk to other people. Whereas you would expect that if you want to keep a player like Zekken, you're trying to lock him up way earlier in the year. You don't want to let him get anywhere near free agency. You'd be trying to renegotiate 6 months ago. Because I remember I interviewed KAPLAN in the off season and kind of asked him about that, like, oh, were you kind of surprised? A player like Zekken, surely you don't want to let him get to free agency, and he kind of said it like, well, if a player wants to go free agent, you can't really stop him like that. And looking back on it now, it's funny. Obviously now we know what happened, but so it turned out they didn't totally not want Zekken, but I feel like they decided on keeping him too late, at which point he could already go to MIBR. At that point, he's getting offered more money. If we're to believe what Rob Moore said before is true, because he's not mentioning it anymore, but if we believe that what he said a few months ago, that the money was crazy, and that he gets to go and play with Aspas on a super team, fair enough. And then that's obviously a missed opportunity for Sentinels. What Zekken also says there is that for basically every team he was talking to, he was going to do that same kind of role, like controller, secondary duelist. He then said he liked working with KAPLAN. Like, he didn't have anything bad to say. He said he liked the way that KAPLAN works. He liked the kind of systems that he had, and KAPLAN was played no part in him deciding to leave. And then the final bit that's come out, and this one, like, I get right. So Rob Moore's streamed, right, and I can understand he was co-streaming LCS. So maybe he wants to stream their league games, and he gets a bit too excited and he starts running his mouth a bit. Not good for a CEO, but I get how it happens. The last bit of information that's come out from him is that he's messaged Tactical Rob to give him more context before because obviously Tactical Rob is going to come out and do like his daily video, and Rob Moore has messaged him like, oh, by the way, I know you can do a video today. Here's a few extra bullet points of context for you. So this is one he's very much gone out of his way to make these statements. And most of it is what we saw already, to be fair. So he says, KAPLAN had a contractual final say on roster. KAPLAN wanted N4RRATE duelist and forced a move against all concerns around toxicity. So that is one
What?
that, yeah, KAPLAN wanted Narrate Duelist, forced the move against all concerns around toxicity. And then a bullet point against that, team chemistry suffered consequently from toxic behavior. And he's saying that specifically about this point of keeping Narrate on Duelist. And then he says the other things that I think we already knew. KAPLAN wanted to replace johnqt as IGL, ideally wanted Zelsis. KAPLAN intention was Narrate Zelsis +3. johnqt will now be returning as IGL with Redux and Cortez as the core. KAPLAN did not want zekken as duelist, eventually trialled as SEN controller, but Aspas had already started to make talks. Trials start this week, Gunter stays as assistant coach. So the bit that he's dropped extra in here, that he didn't say on his stream, he didn't say to Tarek, he's gone out of his way to say it to Tactical Rob, is about the org having concerns about toxicity around... he doesn't say... Well, I guess you can... Pretty obvious. He doesn't say we had issues with zekken, with Narrate toxicity, but they had issues around toxicity with the decision to put Narrate on duelist, which either is to say that the obvious, what I think most people take from this, that we think Narrate has toxicity issues, or maybe if you're being generous, you'd say, I don't know, the narrative or what things could come in the community with him on that role and getting shit, which did happen, but not not from the fact that he's on duelist. I don't think there's really much issue on that. So it seems like he's just now dropping for absolutely no reason to Tactical Rob that they've got, or they're worried about toxicity with Narrate. Which, I mean, it just gets weirder and weirder. I don't know why the guy is still talking and why he just has to, like, I just can't believe it. I was kind of stunned the more I was listening, the more I was reading. There's also the thing with that, if you're Sentinels, clearly they're getting rid of Narrate, or they're going to bench him at the very least. If you want to get rid of a player, and you're hoping that your ideal, if you're going to bench a player, the ideal scenario is that some other team that's looking to make changes wants that player off
You
you.
make some money, yeah.
And you get a buyout from them, or at worst, in that scenario, you agree a zero buyout, and they'll just take him off your hands, and you don't pay the salary. So why you would then go out of your way publicly to this guy that makes these daily news videos that get a lot of views, for you to publicly, very deliberately say that there was toxicity worries around this player? I mean, none of it makes sense. It's just so bizarre. So, yeah, thoughts?
I mean, honestly, I agree with you there. I think that when it comes to Narrate in particular, yeah, toxicity. I mean, let's face it, it's a key part of the esports scene, especially in NA. You gotta talk your shit. Or I know that. I mean, Narrate's earned the right to talk his shit. He was shitting on people when he was on KC. He was shitting on people when he came back to NA last year. He's still doing really well in terms of the stat department. So yeah, I mean, I think he was struggling when he was on the duelist role. That was when his stats really dropped. But in general, on the scan initiator, he is one of the top 3 in NA for sure. So yeah, I think that talking shit about him, even with the toxicity, I'm pretty sure there would still be teams that would see him as an upgrade to the roster. That said, yeah, like, I don't know why you want to smear this guy's name, especially when he hasn't done anything in public and has publicly gone along with every questionable decision that Sen made during kickoff. Like, yeah, why would you put this man on a duelist? Like, just put Redux on duelist. It literally, they played so much better in the last 2 games they played because they put him back on scan initiator. Like, I don't know why you're torturing this guy in multiple ways. But I mean, yeah, in terms of the points that you said about the roster changes as well. I mean, yeah, Cortezia makes sense if he's able to integrate. But zekken playing smokes isn't that big a deal to me because I think at the end of the day, if you're bringing new talent onto a roster, the easiest role to integrate is the duelist role because your role is to just take space, right? I think that it's easier to get people who are newer on a team, easier to fit into that slot. And I mean, if you look at TENS itself, the classic Sentinels homeboy, he did go from an arc of playing duelist, like locking in Reyna and Jud, to playing Omen mainly. So, and that did wonders for him as well. So it's one thing if, zekken decided to just leave because of the role swap, but that doesn't make sense because he's still playing smokes for the most part and he's like doing insane things with it. But yeah, I think in terms of just Sen handling this, it's been very immature. Yeah, I get it. It's Sentinels. They do this kind of thing. They're the drama org, as we love to
Listen, you
flame
look
them
at
for.
the front page of Valcomp today, and it was like the vast majority was Sentinels. So
Gossip.
works to an extent, I guess. But yeah, it's very, very strange. I just saw because I feel like they need, and to be fair, not many teams have someone like this. But like you think, for example, on Fnatic that Kojo is like such a front-facing person as the one that you know the roster decisions at the end of the day are his responsibility and who is the coach. Because the thing with Sentinels here is like it's just all Rob saying all this stuff, and he even mentioned it at one point in the thing talking to Tarek. I can't remember what the context was, but he said something like, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna sorry to Charlie" or something. He says it was something about contracts or what, I can't remember exactly. But I was thinking, all right, who's Charlie? So I have a look on the Liquipedia. Charlie Lipsy, the director of esports. So that would be the person you would imagine. They don't have a general manager, but that's like the closest to a GM that you imagine would be doing that sort of stuff, having to sort the contracts or maybe ultimately decide who is the head coach. But we're not seeing, there's not a peep from this guy. Like it's just very odd, like that Rob Moore, for him like to be inserting himself so much into it. I get that it's his team. At the end of the day as well, the thing where I do sympathise with him a bit, he's the CEO, the buck stops with him. He's the one paying the salaries. If things go south, if KAPLAN's had to have a payout to rip up his contract, I know he's probably got other investors as well, but part of that's coming out of out of his wallet. So I get it to an extent, but it's just it is really like strangely unprofessional. I don't know if you saw, because I think it was only a few hours ago that Pedro Romero did a little selfie video talking about it.
Yeah, I watched it. I like watching Pedro's takes on things. He's
Yeah,
usually pretty reasonable.
the bit at the end of it was really funny as well. He's just going, he's sort of saying like, Rob Moore, are you a CEO or are you a GM? Because if you're a GM, then it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. But he's kind of, I know he's being a bit dramatic, but he's got a point. Like, what? Okay, the CEO, yeah, you're the decision maker, but now you're out here talking so confidently about what was the wrong and right roster moves. Like, come on, mate, you hire the KAPLAN and give him decisions on the roster moves because he's meant to be the expert. Like, I get if you think things are going south. I mean, if he'd have said, we've got a new roster, they've just come 9th, 10th, and like the environment is shit, like because you could tell from that video that was the infamous narrate video, the vibes didn't look great, and when there's environments like that and you just have a terrible opening tournament, you could just say like, results aren't good enough and we feel like the environment's not ideal, so we're making a change. End of story. I don't think I think it's honest enough that you get the credit for kind of being transparent and just being open that results haven't been good enough. But yeah, just no need to go into so much detail and like calling out every little thing and kind of, it always sounds like he's been like
breathing down people's necks.
I wasn't gonna say it, but like, I feel like he's like excited to be able to say all this now. Like, oh, finally he's got like
finally.
it's like you're talking to your mate in the air, like, finally this thing's happened. Oh my god, you won't believe what I've been sitting on here and and like reeling off all the stuff. And yeah, it's bizarre. Also, it's funny watching him speak to Tarek, and it's like I don't know. I just don't watch many like streams, so I just don't see regular streamers very often. I just watch esports stuff on the main broadcast. And to seeing them have a conversation, but like every 30 seconds, Tarek is like just talking to his chat and like clearly like not paying attention. Kind of funny, but anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the whole. Sorry, any what?
No, I was gonna say any more thoughts on it.
I mean, honestly, just I feel like it could have been handled much more gracefully. It could have been much more civilized, I suppose that's the word. But unfortunately, we didn't see too much of that coming into play. And I mean, overall, I think it's a good direction for Sen. I don't think Kyu was working out as the IGL. There were a lot of rounds where it felt like the calling was super behind. So I think overall, getting johnqt back as the IGL, even in our interview that we did with him, he said like, it's been nice to not concentrate on it, but he also did say that he missed it. So I think that he's definitely he's a proven quantity as an IGL, and I mean, even as IGL, he had decent numbers. Like even now, it's not like he's doing insanely well right now, like Trent is, for example, or some other initiator is who isn't picking up the IGL role. Like johnqt always had decent stats even when he was IGLing, I think. So yeah, overall improvements. Redux looking good on the duel list last few games, even when they lost. I think that having Cortesia as well, very consistent. And I think the replacements will be good. I think they should keep narrate, but I also saw the rumors that johnqt might be moving to SEN. So yeah, okay, fine. If you're gonna replace one of the best scat initiators, at least there's gonna be another one that's very flexible, that's available on the market with the kind of championship winning energy that SEN need. I mean, sure, johnqt has also choked in second place multiple times, but at least he's gotten some regional trophies now, so it will be
Yeah,
an
exactly.
improvement for SEN. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, I'm happy for Ewok. I think he can make something good from this. I think that there might be a bit of a playstyle mismatch because I feel like the Pacific teams, especially the Southeast Asia teams, are way more chaotic. I feel like if he can bring some of that energy to SEN, it will be really good. Because I think NA needs a little bit of the paper XRQ kind of psychotic stuff that you usually don't get to see as
Yeah.
much.
And to be fair, I think when might have been on Plat Chat, maybe when Sen got knocked out of kickoff, but the debate on there of like whether they would make a coaching switch and who said it, but someone made the point on there that it didn't really seem like who would be available that you could get that seems like definitely, I don't say definitely an upgrade. Not to say that Ewok's definitely an upgrade on
At least on
KAPLAN,
the
but
same level,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly that kind of caliber of coach that that you feel you could trust on such a massive org. And I guess at the time, you wouldn't have thought Ewok was even available since he was
I mean, to be
on a
fair,
break.
he did say he was taking a break. It was a pretty
Exactly.
fucking short break. That's
Yeah.
what I gotta say. It was like what? Not even a whole stage. It was like fucking kickoff. It was like 3 weeks, dude.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. You might have, assuming he wouldn't have been available, you might think, okay, fair enough. There's not anyone there, but yeah, not a bad pickup. And to be fair, I don't think anyone even would disagree with there being changes. I think with maybe with N4RRATE, if there has been like atmosphere issues, even if you think, okay, we could change his role a bit, get him off the what was he playing, the Waylay or something, but yeah, get him back on more comfortable stuff.
Fade and yeah.
And you can get him back in form. But I feel like at this point, maybe just even for the environment wise, if there's been stuff with toxicity, which also the thing doesn't help that Rob Moore, if he's going to leak stuff to Tactical Rob, that he's going to be sort of vague about it as well. So now you have to sort of speculate. Okay, we guess N4RRATE is having toxicity issues, so based on that, probably they should get rid of him. But we also don't really know. But yeah, I guess like if there's environment issues, you probably would just make a change anyway and just give it more of a. I feel like if you swap out 2 players, that's enough that it feels like a total refresh. And yeah, I feel like it would make sense. Yeah, what's your dream duo for them to pick up? Let's say they get rid of N4RRATE and Kyu.
I
Jonah P,
think
one
if
of
they
them, I
get
think
rid of
is.
N4RRATE, I think johnqt is definitely a really good fit for them in terms of a player that they can pick up. If johnqt goes back to IGLing, I think that leaves the flex spot pretty open for any agent to any player to kind of come into there. I think that in terms of free agency, though, johnqt is definitely up there. Sen can afford him. Put some of that zekken money towards somebody who deserves it. That's what I say. But yeah, it would be nice to see some johnqt back into another team going up against G2, the whole grudge match kind of thing. I'm always a fan of little grudge matches like that. But also, I think there's a lot of really good tier 2 talent still. Like, I think NA has one of the best tier 2 pipelines to mainstream or whatever. So they can definitely get some good talent from that side as well. Like, 100 Thieves look really good, for example, because they did get some Ascension winning talent. So they could definitely look into that for sure. If you look at Furia, they've been rebuilt with mainly tier 2 talent and they're doing super good right now. So I don't have a dream duo in particular because I still think in terms of proven players, most people have like question marks or they're already part of a team. But yeah, I'm not
Jonah
sure. I
P and
think
friends.
Redux, sorry, johnqt and friends. Yeah, I can't think of any one player in particular. I would have said Demon One, but he's already signed,
Yeah,
man.
that would have been good.
Tragedy of life.
Yeah,
Imagine
just
getting johnqt and Demon One together. That would have been such a banger roster upgrade. Like you really can't go wrong with that.
yeah, and then
I did
imagine the
see
lead
some
up to
rumors that they
Festive.
were considering Inspire, and I'm just saying if you're worried about toxicity when it comes to like freaking N4RRATE who hasn't shown publicly any side of it, you gotta be really worried about Inspire bringing toxicity into the team. Like I don't know about that. It's a rumor, but I heard one of the main reasons or one of the reasons that Envy possibly kicked him is because he punched somebody on the team. Again, unsubstantiated rumor, but I don't know, man. He seemed really salty about the kick, and I kind of see him punching somebody. I would want to punch somebody over it, so I'm not saying it's even unjustified, but yeah. Imagine
Fair enough.
Inspire and johnqt, the 2 opposite ends of the chill spectrum and the mean spectrum. I don't know if you can call Inspire mean these days. He was really toxic as Baby J, but he did mention he got a personality transplant. I don't know if anybody changes that much, but you can hope. You can hope.
Maybe just to round off on it, I think this is like #1 on Valcomp as of recording. Kojo from Fnatic had a and his thoughts on it. That kind of encapsulates it pretty well. He says, "I'm all up for being transparent and letting people know what is going on in a team, but there has to be a within reason caveat. I couldn't imagine Sam or Patrick, so that's Sam Matthews and I think Khan, the owners of Fnatic. I just couldn't imagine Sam or Patrick publicly throwing me under the bus after a rough split, especially when we are ultimately all in this together." There you go. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I guess KAPLAN isn't in with them together. That's kind of the
Exactly,
problem if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, yeah, it just makes it look like you didn't really believe in him the whole time, and it's just, yeah, just not very nice.
Fnatic was graceful about the Elmo Putty thing. They didn't really shit talk him even when they let him go. Like, yeah, we didn't have the results we wanted, so have a nice day. We still think he's a good coach.
Yep.
And meanwhile, they've got Rob Moore like making shish kebab out of KAPLAN.
He did say
RIP.
like one time, I do think, KAPLAN is a good coach, but blah 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 blah. And that was one point I saw as well. Just one final thing. I think it was just a Reddit comment. Was saying that, like, okay, sure, like, for example, the narrate switch for this year has looked rubbish, and now everyone thinks KAPLAN's a completely washed fit coach. But then, yeah, you go back a couple of years ago when Tens got roles, it looked like, did it look like KAPLAN was a genius? Did he maybe get the props for that, or was it more Tens that got the props for being able to swap roles? So there's a bit of give and take. But anyway, there's more important stuff than Sentinels, believe it or not. Although they've tried their best to steal the limelight. But of course, coming up in a matter of days is Masters Santiago, the first global event of the year, of which Sentinels will not be attending. Too bad. But where do we start? Maybe which angle do we go for? Maybe let's talk about
Start with the first seeds.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, and kind of who's the favourites? Obviously, because they're just looking at the first seeds, it just has been a bizarre kickoff in literally every region. I think it's crazy. Like, you get any of these types of winners in one region would be a bit mad, but you say, okay, it's fair enough. People can have miracle runs, or we can undervalue teams and new players and whatnot. But yeah, 4 winners that are absolutely out of nowhere. So in NA, I shouldn't say NA since it's a bloody Brazilian team that won it. In the Americas, Furia first seed. In China, All Gamers first seed. In EMEA, BBL first seed. And in Pacific, Nongqin first seed.
So kind of a pattern, I feel like.
Who had that on their bingo card? Who had that that 4-way bet on for $1 2 months ago? I wonder what they would have won.
$1 2 months ago would have been probably thousands right now.
Exactly.
With the markets being what
it's
they
bizarre. And the thing is, it wasn't even. I mean, they just immediately, all these teams look good. I don't think you don't feel like teams were sort of fluking runs either. Like they were having tough matches and beating all the top dogs, and like immediately all the big teams were wrapping it in the middle and low brackets. Especially if you think like the third seeds that scraped in. For them, like, thank God it's triple elimination this year. Imagine these same results that happened last year. How crazy that would have looked. Yeah, absolutely bizarre. What one surprised you the most of the 4?
I think for me, probably has to be Furia. Because, I mean, I expected them to do better this year for sure. But I didn't think they would be top seed coming out, shitting on MIBR in that last map, playing like just this extensively well, I would say. So they were probably the one that surprised me the most. But I think all of them actually in total kind of surprised me. The one that surprised me the least was Nongshim, because I had them down as a strong bet. They looked really good in their Ascension run. Ascension rerun rather, and I always like these teams that win Ascension twice, like being able to play through it and make it out after a year in playing in VCT as well. Nongshim, they've had a lot of close games even if they weren't able to make like an international properly. So yeah, I think that they were definitely one of the teams that I personally really enjoyed watching. They got RB as well, so since Ascension they've been looking really strong, and yeah, I think seeing RB back at the Masters has made me happy. I was low-key rooting for him, so they were on one of my teams. They were one of my teams that could that looked very middle in the pack, but could surprise with a strong showing. But yeah, All Gamers is banger. They picked up like a tier 2 EMEA player who has the most insane first stat ratings. Like I remember I was doing some VCT China, casting with Project Horizon, and we were looking at the stats for entry duelists and stuff. And this guy has the most insane win percentage across his duels. He had like almost like 65% ish. First Blood rate, which is wild. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how he's gonna match up in the global scene. I still think that BBL was also like a super fun game to watch. I think they also look very dominant. And all these teams that have had a while to stick together, like Nongshim and BBL, I think both of them have been playing together. Like the core has been together for 2 years now. So I think that that could also be a key reason as to why they've been looking super, super strong. Yeah, all gamers in Furia, it's the opposite case. It's the rebuild, it's the Cinderella story, so as to speak, kind of, especially for Furia. I mean, I was watching some of the post-game interviews, especially with Koala Noob, and yeah, man, I mean, I can't think of a group of guys who deserve it more. Like, they've been really struggling for years and stuff, so I'm very happy with Furia. And also the whole meme, like, yeah, like this, or Furia wins a game or something, and just for them to go from not winning a single series with their roster 1 year to qualifying as first seed winning kickoff is just a beautiful storyline. I'm all for it as a writer, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Already like quadrupled the amount of wins from last year from the first 2 weeks of play. We know which one didn't surprise me. Obviously, it was BBL.
You
I
had
had
a bet on them, I remember.
well, I had them to get to champs. I thought by the end of the year they would scale up. I should have committed more because we've sort of been asking teams a little bit in interviews, you know, kind of what do they think is the reason for this sudden or this kind of crazy pattern, because it's weird because you are kind of guessing why it happened. I guess it could just be that 4 regions happen to have random random lucky, or not lucky runs, but random runs that we didn't expect. But for example, I asked Nats about it, and he gave the impression that it is. I guess he's coming from EMEA as well, where it is BBL who is the same roster from Pacific in its entirety. So he sort of guessed that it is these teams that are maybe where they're I don't know what's a nice word for it. Not weaker teams or lesser teams, but where they're like smaller teams.
Underestimated.
Yeah, they're kind of coming out, and especially the ones that are a rebuilt roster, a pre-built roster already. They can just come out and play their game straight away, do their best, and that's that. But then when you're one of these bigger, to quote unquote, well, not quote unquote, but to use smaller and bigger, when you're a bigger team, that your expectations aren't just like let's go out and do our absolute best and go completely ham and kick off. You're actually thinking, right, we're setting up this season for a run at champs, or for qualifying for champs. And so what he said is like they're more sort of laying the groundwork early in the season. So maybe you're not specifically practicing for what's the best thing for us to do tomorrow against I don't know, against Ulf, but you're thinking what are the things we should be practicing so that in 6 months we're at our best. And maybe that's why these bigger teams didn't start off hitting the ground running necessarily, which is a fair guess. It would happen more often if it was 100% caused by that. So yeah, I think it's a little bit random, but it's interesting then, because off of that, and my screen isn't showing it all that well, but from that, what do we expect now? Like, who come in? Are any of these first seeds favorites for the tournament? If you take basically any team from, maybe apart from EDG, so let's say EDG was first seed, and then the other first seeds were let's even say G2, and then Team Liquid and T1. Let's not even say Paper X. Let's say it was G2, EDG, Team Liquid, T1 were the first seeds. One of them at least would be the favourite for the tournament. But with these first seeds at the moment, yeah, it's all a bit random, really. Who do you think are the favourites? Who should expect it? Because I feel like if you're any of the first seeds, you don't really expect to be winning this still.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme with most of the tournaments that we end up seeing, because when it comes to just being able to close it out, it's the teams that actually go through the struggle of groups, who tend to end up lifting the trophy because they're just like all the more warmed up, they've gotten more practice in. I
Sure.
mean, yeah, there's that problem with revealing the strats and your opponents having more preparation time, but I think that just being able to play a game and work on little micro decisions that you make with your team at that level, like elevate your mistakes so you have an even better idea heading into like the playoff stage. It's a bit of a buff, I would say, even if it's much harder to do. So I mean, to answer your initial question, like, yeah, of course I would say uh T1 is probably gonna be my favorite from that list to go ahead and win it all because you didn't say Paper X. But in terms of the seeds that we're seeing here, I think that T1 definitely looked really strong because the first series that they did play, it was that best of 5. Like, yes, in the beginning they lost to Nongshim, but even that was a kind of a close game. So yeah, Nongshim might have beaten them in that best of 5, but T1 got a 3-0 win and over these guys in their own best of 5 game, and they've been looking really consistent. I think that they were able to work on a lot of these mistakes. And yeah, I think they're definitely one of the more adaptable teams out there in terms of picking up new agents and stuff. So with the changes to Harbor, I don't think the Gecko changes, we're probably going to be seeing them in this tournament, at least for the group stage. We might see it for playoffs, but the Harbor changes definitely are going to be kicking in. So I expect to see like a lot more teams picking up Harbor, especially with the Chamber meta coming back in again. I think he's like a really strong agent, even with him no longer having those cascades. So yeah, probably going to be a very double controller heavy meta. That said, though, back to the teams thing. I mean, yeah, in terms of first seeds, I expect Nongshim to probably do the best. Although I would not sleep on Furia. I mean, I feel like everyone's still sleeping on Furia. They're probably just gonna be like, "Hey, and it's an NA region thing. People like shit the bed." But I don't know because I did see some news that their duelist player Alum might not be there. I'm not sure how substantiated this is. It was on one of the Latam Twitter rumor websites. So which is tended to be historically accurate about LATAM and Brazil news at least, so I'm gonna give them props. But yeah, I'd mentioned that Alan might not be able to get a visa in time, which would really suck. I mean, he has a bit of extra time because Furia, again, like first seed, does have that extra 4 or 5 day window. But what concerns me is that he's from Kazakhstan. We've seen how difficult it is for Mongols players to get visa, so bro has the same problem basically. Hoping that he will still be able to make it and we'll get to see Fury on their full glory. But in terms of the group stage, I'm definitely going to be betting on T1. EDG have looked a little bit shaky. They got a new player since they lost Simon, they've been kind of getting a new player for that slot every few months. And the newest one is called CB. He mostly plays Yoru, so he's kind of been playing that second duelist / Phil kind of role for the team. And even if he's been able to have some impactful maps overall, it still seemed like EDG are struggling a little bit because even their game against BLG, which they won to qualify in that best of 5, BLG were playing the last 2 maps without their really strong initiator player K Knight. Bro had like some heart palpitations, I think, like after their win, and he couldn't play the last 2 games. So poor BLG played both best of 5s without their star initiator player, which sucks for them at the end. So yeah, a bit unfortunate for for VCT China, but good thing for EDG. I don't know if they're gonna be able to, as we like to say colloquially, get their shit together by by the time of Santiago. So not sure about them. I have a bit of a question mark, but I did bet on Team Liquid making it out of the group stage. Like it's a difficult group stage for sure, but I really think TL looked very strong in that last game against Fnatic. Nats was having perfect reads. That round where he bought an outlaw in overtime was just like absolutely disgusting. The read there was just beautiful. And I think overall the games in the group stage as well, like all of them are extremely exciting games if you think about it, because your first game is going to be like EDG versus Gentlemates. The thing that I'm really excited about in this one is the kill leader versus kill leader, you know, like the old OG Kakang's record versus Martin, who basically dropped like 15 more kills and got the new record. So yeah, definitely a matchup of the banger killers for sure. Let's see how Martin holds up against another region team. Even though he was able to farm at EMEA for sure. But yeah, even the other teams as well, other games as well. XLG versus NRG. I hope NRG stomps that. I have them doing well in my pick'ems. G2 as well versus PaperX. I mean, I hope PaperX wins. G2 has always been one of their most annoying opponents, and T1 versus TO, I'm betting on T1. So yeah, I think there's a little bit of my bias, but my teams that I have making it out of the group stage are PaperX, T1, G2, and either NRG or Gentlemates, or TL. I think probably TL, but it could be NRG or Gentlemates, you know, swooping in that slot. I admit to have a bit of a Pacific bias here when it comes to T1 and PaperX, and I think on paper T1 actually do have the stronger roster, but I cannot see a tournament without PaperX making a deep run. I would feel very sad, so that will be my bet. I must give a disclaimer about the pick'ems that I have. So
let's have a look at yours. I was trying to log in quickly to do mine, but I'm not signed in, so never mind that.
RIP.
Let's have a look at them because we have got them here. I've moved the screen around a bit, so I don't know how that's going to look. It's just about all right. Maybe this way a little bit. Hold on. There we go.
Hey.
So what was it? What is the pick on the pick'ems? 'Cause I haven't even looked at mine. Is it picking the? I should have
So
read this.
you can just pick the Swiss stage right now. You have to wait for the Swiss stage to end because the playoffs teams that are already there, the first seeds, get to pick who they play. It's
Yeah.
like the benefit of being the first seed as well. So if EDG and PaperX or TL and NRG both make it through, and you think to yourself, all right, NA is equal to nearest airport. I'm gonna play them instead. Or there's a team that you think you have the read on better. You can pick them. So until the playoffs matches are decided, I don't think they want to open the playoffs
No,
pick'ems,
that's
which
fair.
I mean I'm perfectly on board with. But yeah, for this, I think the only special pick'em that you have to do for the group stage is which team will go undefeated, and my paper Rex bias goes, of course, very hard here. I think it's also likely to be either T1 or G2. G2 looked, even if G2 lost to Furia, they looked really strong otherwise. They got a 3-0 in their matchup against MIBR. To be fair, MIBR was dealing with best of 5 fatigue, but still. Yeah, overall, I think I would like to see Paper X do really well against G2 and whoever they play next, probably TL, but yeah.
Let's go. You can help me do mine then.
Oh, okay. Let's go, let's go.
So.
Which
Give me
four
this loading
four
again.
teams do you think are gonna make
Yeah,
it
let's have a
through?
think. Who do I trust? I don't know why. I feel like my screen's a bit squashed here, but never mind.
I mean, I can see it fine, so.
Ah, good. It's difficult because especially where they've all been knocked down to the not from the upper bracket. So all the
Top dog teams
all
that
the
you
teams you
expect to
think are the better
traditionally
teams are here.
see.
Who do I trust? I think NRG for sure. I guess we've got to take into account the actual matchups as well. I need your article next to me. Hold on, here it is. So I can see the matchups again and think about it that way. I'll just pick maybe the 4 that I feel like would win the first matches, and then assume they're going to take advantage of starting 1-0. I feel okay. So I'll go EDG as my first one, and this could be the NRG situation again of thinking that they might not do that well at champs because they got a bunch of rookies and they might not be able to handle the pressure. And we know how that went. But I'm gonna go for it again with this time with Gentlemates. So probably they're gonna slip up, and then I'll pick NRG because I'm not going against them again. And then G2 Paper X. Fuck. Okay. Disregard what I said before. I'm dropping EDG because I can't not pick both of these. So I'm gonna put
Thank
G2.
you. That's what I went through. I was like,
Yeah.
am I just hating on China too much? And then no, I can't not have G2 and Paper X. That's just wrong.
So both of those, and then I should go TL for the EMEA bias. Plus I really like Nats, but
Same. That was my exact chain of reasoning as well, except for the EMEA bias part. But I also was like, they have nuts. I like nuts. I like nuts for.
yeah, I feel like that has to be it. And then it's that's the only pick so far, and then the rest is open later on.
Yep, exactly.
Fair enough.
You think G2 is gonna go undefeated?
Oh, I didn't pick. What do I have? How do I pick that? Oh, it's whatever is in the first one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Fate has picked it for me correctly. I'm fine with that. What did you think
We
of
have
the?
three of the same teams. We have 3 of the same teams, so it's fair enough.
Yeah, what did you think of the cinematic then that dropped today? Obviously, it's slightly
Honestly,
unfortunate that some of the players that they've picked aren't
aren't
going.
here.
But obviously, these sort of things, like I imagine they have to do it so far in advance. It's cool they had that moment in there as well. From Champs last
Yes,
year.
that's how
Oh no,
you
from Toronto,
kick a
sorry.
team's ass.
Yeah, that
That's
was
how you
wicked.
do it, bro. That's my boy Jing. You
And
gotta
in
flex.
fairness to them, like I get the ones where they do, like especially League of Legends ones because they've done it for so many years, where it's like basically it's like a music video with the players in there, and they might show like the player,
Faker.
well, every year obviously, but they might show like a player in the form of their signature champion, but they would rarely like pick out a specific moment like that. So in those ones, you're thinking,
Mhm.
okay, fair enough, they've got to make a guess at who's going to be there, but then also it's like, was it even really worth it that they had to make a guess that they just have the player there like standing doing a cosplay of their champion? So it's cool in this one that they, if they're going to commit, do it properly and have the. And actually, I like this better. Have it and build it around the actual moments too. So it's like, linking everything together. or yeah, it's more of a hype about the players themselves and about what the players can do and their history. So I really like it. It is a shame that like probably felt like the biggest focus was on the Fnatic players that are in there. Yeah, we had Boaster and Alfia had their moment, and obviously, yeah, Boaster nothing in game. Let's just have him do a
Oh
dance.
man.
But yeah,
But I will give Booster some credit. Like, okay, fine, he might not have made it to Santiago, but he has been looking much crispier in terms of aim. Like, I remember seeing him on streams to like duoing with Kayak, and that was just like, yeah, bro, good. Work on your fucking aim. Thank you. His stats were much better than usual. Usually he runs like a 0.5 deficit. He was like at a 0.75 this time. Only a 0.25 deficit in terms of like the frag versus death ratio. So
yeah,
he's improving. I gotta give him creds for that. Like with all the IGL carrying that he's doing and losing out on Kron. Like yes, Vekaj is good, but Kron is just more consistent in the clutch. I don't know. I feel like yeah, with all the changes and shit, he's not been doing too bad.
yeah,
Oh, they got Ethan on Breach. I remember seeing that scene. That was so
yeah.
cool.
I
His
did think
best
that
map
there maybe should be
locking in.
could have been a bit more focus on NRG specifically because they kind of like grouped a few Americas players together in there. Oh yeah, obviously Ethan gets his moment though, but I mean it was a cool video. Like the style of it's really cool and that.
Mm-hmm.
No
I'm
complaints.
just excited for the new agent. I remember seeing like some hints that he's gonna be from Croatia, and odds are like with the previous lore cinematics. I'm still working on that gigantic ass lore article. It's shaping up to be a really big one. I'm like breaking it down cinematic by cinematic, act by act. So yeah, it's insane. I'm doing it in my free time. But back to the lore. I mean, I'm really excited for this new agent. I think we do need another healer agent. Like no, we don't really see people running Sky anymore. Sage, yes, on some maps, but it's more for the wall and the kind of cringe stuff you can do with her on your team compared to, having the actual heal be a factor, I would say. So, yeah, having an agent that can heal. I remember seeing one of the leakers have like a healed enemies icon as well. So I don't know, maybe the ult is like a AoE ult like Mantis or something from Rivals. It's interesting to think about like what you would have, what you kind of need in this current meta in terms of an agent. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's gonna be a Sentinel because the last couple of duelists have been like more towards the duelist side, I would say, with and the Sentinel as well with Vito. So probably not a Sentinel, but yeah, an Initiator would be nice, I would say. Like a Initiator with some healing ability like Sky, but maybe a bit more aggressive and less terrible than Sky. I mean, if you have team flashes, why can't you have enemy heals? I suppose. Fair enough.
Fair. Who let's maybe do some light predictions. We don't have to make it too official with a spreadsheet.
Hmm.
But who would you say? Let's say if you have to pick from Masters, one team that's going to overperform, one team that's going to underperform of the 12. And this is tricky because actually
Of all the 12.
because out of that as well, what is an overperformance? Because if you pick one of the first seeds to win the tournament, you maybe say it's an overperformance even though they're a first seed.
In this
I
case,
don't know
I
what's
don't know
your
if we could say that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in this case, that's what we would be saying, yeah. I think overperform. I think Furia can definitely surprise us. It's like your NRG. I don't want to call it a bias, but it's like your NRG kind of thing. Like we've learned to put some respect on it after watching their kickoff run. I have a lot of respect for these guys, so yeah, I think they could definitely. If they make top four, I would say that's an overachievement because compared to the Fury of last year, plus the fact that it's the first international for all of these guys except for Artson, I think that them being able to make a top four with a new roster right off the bat, only if they have their full roster. I'm not sure if they'll be able to do it without Alim. But yeah, I think that is definitely something that I can see them doing, like in terms of an overachievement. I think that another team that I could see as overachieving would be EDG making like a top three. They've been looking really questionable, even in VCT China. They went from like dominating the region in 2024 to just steadily slipping since 2025 from like not even making it to not even being able to win regional trophies. It's been a while since they won a regional trophy. It's been like XLG or DRG or some other team winning it. So, yeah, I think EDG would be a team that could surprise me. I think
And
that
obviously,
another team that could definitely.
BLG are so
Mhm.
dominant, that's why they're in the cinematic.
I feel really bad for BLG, man. Like, I genuinely think that if they hadn't lost their player for the last two games, they would have been able to beat EDG. Because I think that K-Knight is just somebody who's very good at setting up the other players on the team for good rounds and stuff, and just having to play with a sub. Like, even if Bianca's good, it's not the same. So it does kind of suck that that was EDG's qualification. One of the reasons for it, at the very least, if not the main reason. So yeah, I don't know. It just sucks to see a bit. But I mean, who else could surprise me? I mean, if BBL doesn't make it to a top four after all the flaunting and shit talking and stuff they've been doing, I would call that an underachievement for sure. And yeah, I think NRG not making a deep run either. I think it's possible that because I think they've been one of the teams that haven't really switched up comps according to the meta. That we got that from Mara's interview as well, right? So if you look at the comps that they've been running, they're still running more of the double initiator kind of comp, playing into like what are those comfort picks for players on the team. So yeah, I think they need to adapt a little bit more in terms of what they're running. Bonkar is probably on the ball with that. But yeah, I think they're a team that could definitely disappoint as well. Like coming in from champs, you want to at least make it to like a semifinal. So those are like my expectations. But I could put the same questions towards you. What would you like expect to
I
see,
think
or who would you think? Yeah,
so. Firstly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm going to go for BBL again as overachievers, and I feel like it would be an overachievement if they were to actually. How far do I
top
take it?
three.
I was going to say a final, but
Oh, okay, top two. Fair enough,
let's
close
say I'm
enough.
going to say top two. I would no. I've made the mistake
Hmm.
once of not committing hard enough. They should have been my kickoff winners. So I'm going to go BBL to win Masters Santiago, and that will be the overachievement. And then underachiever, I think NRG is a good one but it's tricky because I think like because they're NRG and they won champs, you still expect them to be one of the favourites, and then they're third seed. If it was double elimination still, they wouldn't even be here. So should we expect that much? But then they only lost to MIBR and G2, which is not exactly like
Yeah. And they
horrendous
were able to
defeats.
recover from the MIBR game, to be fair. So
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't see them slip up. If anything, maybe G2 that have got previous of looking
I'm
good.
still hate watching them a little. Like I'm a fan of Baby Bay, and I'm happy he's playing well, but they should not have snaked my boy Jonapi like that. I feel bad for them, man.
I don't know
So
who
I
to go
hope they
for.
do well, but not too well. They do keep missing a trophy though. So like an international trophy, it's like 2 times, right, that they've gotten bullied.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, you know, Paper X, underachievers.
No, don't do this, Lee. I'll call you the
And the
jinxer if they do
underachievement for
underachieve.
them will just be like maybe not top four or
Not top four. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I would also call it an underachievement if they don't make top four. I agree with you.
So
Fair
maybe
enough.
not. I'll be nice. Not totally shit the bed, but just not. Yeah, not gonna blow everyone away. So won't be too harsh. So yeah, my winners and overachievers BBL. Who do you think is gonna win it?
Um, Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say T1. I'm gonna make my bet on an unlikely team, and yeah, I put my money where my mouth is. I said that I expected them to at least win a stage or trophy this year, if I remember. I would like to see any of the Pacific teams lift this trophy, of course, any of the four. But I would be really happy for T1 if they could do it again because they lost their coach. He went over to EDG, by the way. T1's coach. That is so weird to think about. Autumn leaving T1 and going over all the way to another team. It's kind of cooked. But I also do like T1's current coaching staff. They've been clearly able to adapt very well. And yeah, I would be very happy to see one of the Ascension teams lift the trophy as well. So I would say, in terms of experience, T1 are a likely bet. In terms of just looking really good and well prepared and adapting on the fly, I would have to give it to Nongshim or BBL. I think both of them showed that they were very capable of that, and they're really like beasts on their strongest maps as well, especially BBL. So I would be very happy. I would say these are my top three to go ahead and win with a hint of Pacific bias over there. But yeah, do those three look very strong?
Yeah. Should we do a quick check-in on our predictions and see how well we did for kickoff? We didn't do very well. We didn't do very
I don't
well.
think we did very well. At least you have that BBL thing to redeem you. What do I
Yeah.
have? I have Jack.
But yeah, again, I should have committed properly. Our kickoff winners. Actually, well, I need to get them go region by region, don't we? Hold on, what have I done? Okay, I put it in full screen now. I can't see the thing. I'm having a right cook up here. Yeah, hold on. There we go. That's better. Okay, so America's winner. I had G2. You had MIBR. Wrong. Santiago representatives. I had G2, NRG, MIBR. it's going to be unfair because of all the
Hey.
bloody first seeds that came out of nowhere. So clearly neither of us had Furia.
Okay, the MIBR.
Yeah. You had Crew, who also I had as my overachievers. Not quite gone
I
to
mean, to be
plan, but
fair, Crew, you can't blame me for. They didn't even
exactly,
get to play a game with the roster. Poor
exactly.
bastards. I
There's
was
an
so
asterisk.
excited.
There's an asterisk on Crew, so that's fine. Um,
That's so sad.
and then the rest, the rest could still play out. Cortesia's been alright. Kiko's been alright. But yeah, the rest are kind of more longer. We're focusing on the first two, maybe the bit of the third one. So first kickoff winner and representatives, we've had a bit of a nightmare. Kickoff winner in EMEA, Fnatic and Vitality. Surprisingly, neither of us.
Vitality didn't. Most of them didn't even make it, bro. We're so cooked.
Look at
EMEA.
I mean, look at both of our representatives: Fnatic, Vitality, GX, Fnatic, Vitality, Team Heretics. We didn't get a single one.
Absolute zero. Absolutely
Christ.
cooked.
And I had Team Liquid underachievers, which isn't happening yet.
I mean, they qualified barely, so I guess you could say it. They went from like being second and first in stages to barely qualifying by the skin of their teeth. But
I think
yeah.
I was thinking harsher. I was thinking
guess you
maybe
could
there would
say
be
that.
no globals, but yep, fuck that.
There's still time for that lead. Don't worry, you don't have to jinx them that hard.
And then Pacific, Paper X winner for both of us. Wrong.
At least they made it. Small
Santiago
consolation.
representatives, we got 2 out of 3. Paper X T1, but then neither had Nongshim. We had the wrong Korean teams. I had DRX, you had Varel.
Varel had them shitting. Varel shit the bed, man. I was so excited for them. They were just cooked. Cooked, I say.
Yeah. Bit of a shame. But then, if we look in longer term, let's look at these last couple. To win a stage, DRX, Genji, and then to go to champs, we've got mostly the same teams. I've got Global Esports, which maybe is looking a bit riskier. I think
they looked really good. They almost beat BRFTR. They almost beat PaperX twice, man. They were 13-10 on map 3 the first time, and they were overtime in a best of 5 or best of 3 the second time, you know? You gotta give them their credits. It's always GE that almost knocks out PaperX. It's wild.
I'm forgetting why I didn't have T1 in here as one of my 4 somehow, but I feel like that's definitely going to come up as an issue.
I feel like yours are looking DRX bias.
Yeah, a little bit. Yours are looking alright. I think yours going to happen.
Relatively.
EMEA.
After the EMEA debacles for both of us, I think Pacific looked pretty good for both of us too.
Yeah. I feel like
we only half cooked it.
My EMEA champs, swap out Heretics for the TL maybe.
BBL.
No, I had BBL obviously for getting to champs, didn't I? KC is looking. KC is a riskier one. And then Americas. Crew. We'll wait for Crew. We'll give them time because we both got them to get to champs, and that might come unstuck there.
I believe in Zahk the GOAT. Just everything is just the problem.
Maybe towards the end here, what players in particular are you looking forward to seeing at Masters?
I mean, I think that from Furia, Qualification for sure. I think that he looks really good this stage. So I think in terms of the playoff, I'll go playoff teams first, like the top 4. So him, I'm excited to see. RB, probably the one I'm most excited to see. I've been a fan of this guy since like his Vision Striker days, and he was like playing Jet, like no one gave a fuck. And yeah, now he's on a bunch of different agents, but like behind Forsaken, I would say this is probably the most flexible player in VCT. So yeah, I'm excited to see RB back at an international stage. Like last time he played was like in 2021 at Copenhagen or something, you know? So bring my man back. It's been 5 years. Give him back the stage already. He it's just insane to think about his journey. He was playing in Tier 1 Pacific, 102 match win streak, makes it to a Masters, and just for 4 years gets shunted around teams, swaps regions, gets back to Tier 2. It's just been such a road for this guy, and the whole time he's just been doing what the team needs. He's just so team focused. I think it's a nice attitude to have and a veteran presence on your team. So yeah, I'm excited to see him play at that highest level. I think from EMEA, I think Lovers Rock for sure. We were talking about like how good Euro players have been like topping the charts, and he's both a good Euro player and this meta is very op heavy, and he's also a good opper. So he's just someone I'm very excited to see as well. I think from the group stage teams, definitely Kiko on NRG in particular. I think that even if he had a bit of starting trouble in terms of stats, he's been steadily improving. So I think he's finally finding his place with the team. Baby Bay has just been fun to watch. Like he's a bit of a memer, but it's nice to watch like Unk, 30-year-old dude who retired for a bit and did broadcast talent, come back to tier 1 and slap people around, 21-year-old kids around. It's fun to watch as a auntie unk myself, you know. It's a little bit petty, but I like watching it. Of course, my king Forsaken, I'm always excited to see Forsaken on the stage. Other players who I'm excited to see, Martin for sure, especially after that kill record. I think that I want to see how he shapes up against teams that he hasn't been playing for a while, like non-European teams. So yeah, I think very excited to see KC, or not KC, sorry, my bad, Gentlemates, wrong French team, guys. Please don't bonk me with the baguette. Yeah, definitely excited to see Martin pop off, and yeah, I hope we get to see Gentlemates versus BBL again. I want to see more shit talking. I want to see Starkso lose his shit. Let's go, guys. Maybe not the death threats that he was getting, but the rest of it, you know, I want to see the shit talk. I want to see bad words in French all over my Twitter timeline. That's what I want to see.
I want to see press to translate on every thing.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe just to round it off then, a quick shout out then, because just as you're flicking through the players, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that was good interview with that one. Good interview with that one. I was going to say it with RB because you spoke to him about going back to an international finally. He was saying he's extremely happy to win. I think you spoke to him like right after he qualified. My first international in 3 long years. Looking forward to showing my new style, new team play, and performances, 100%. And yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks with interviews, so do come and look. Well, either on the website if you fancy reading them, otherwise obviously on the YouTube here. We've got 1,000,001 interviews over the last couple of weeks.
I recommend reading them. Lee goes to a lot of trouble of finding nice pictures of players, so if you read them, he'll be happy.
Yeah, definitely. And it, you know, I'm as the lead, I got to get the numbers. So come and click, and then refresh, and then click another one and refresh it. Go in a new tab. All of that.
Every time you publish an article, I usually like to open it on my phone as well. So like one more read. Let me do my part.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. So yeah, just feel free to have a look around because we've got a lot of good content that's come out. And yeah, more to come for Masters hopefully as well. Any final thoughts, Zach, ahead of the tournament?
Paper Rex, please don't fucking throw. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Listen, it took.
I know it's been a difficult
How many did it take? 11 internationals for the first win. So they've only had. This will only be their second since then. You've got a while to wait yet for the next one. Don't worry.
No. Maybe we finally broke the curse streak. You know, it took 2 second places and the third one was a first, or was it 3 second places? There was Copenhagen. There was Champions. There was one more that was very sad. That was 3rd place in Tokyo. So yeah, it was 2 second places and a 3rd place. You know, we're getting there. We're getting better. Fair enough.
Yep. Well, let's see.
4th place at Champs as well. So yeah, I'll be happy with the top 2. Give me another trophy, but I'll be happy with the top 2. It's kind of an ugly trophy.
Oh, that was one thing actually. Sorry, we didn't mention that. The bloody kickoff trophies. I wanted to have a moan about that because.
Oh god, they were terrible. They were awful. They were fucking shit. Yeah, I will say it. I will call it out.
Forget that. Well, so for starters, it's just bizarre because they didn't. There's no differentiation, so every region had the same exact trophy. It also was barely even. It was a plaque more than a trophy. It's like it looked like some sort of industry awards. I'm just thinking because having seen you just like any industry that they have like an award show, and it'd be like best real estate agents awards of this borough or something, and it's just like everyone just go there. They buy like pay $3,000 to have a table at this event, and then they go, oh yeah, best apartment sales agent of the year, best semi-detached house salesman of the year. They're just like these kind of industry awards. They just have like a little plaque, so you can go and put it in the office and put it on your email. Anyone that works an office job knows that whatever industry you're in, they've got these kind of random awards just so everyone can pat themselves on the back and have a nice picture.
I've gotten some of them. Best outgoing student in my school. It's a really ugly trophy, like black and gray. It was very kickoff themed, actually. I was just thinking, looking at it, like this doesn't feel like something that you get for winning an event. It feels like something you get for like, oh yeah, thanks for being here. We like you and we need you, but we don't really appreciate you. It's shittier than that ugly ass 3D printed EMEA trophy. You remember that ugly EMEA trophy, the gray and green one that looked like it was banged out on a 3D printer last minute? It was one of the ugliest trophies I've ever seen. And after the Ascension trophy that last year, I was like, okay, they're saving it, but this is the worst. Yuck.
Yeah, well, I remember the EMEA one because I was extremely lucky to get a sneak preview of that because I
Oh
was with
God, I feel
a
bad
few
for
other
you.
journalists that were being shown around the studio because that was for Stage 2 playoffs 2024, and yeah, I had a few journalists that we were getting shown around the studio the day before, and they were like, "Guys, look, can't take any pictures of this, but here's the trophy. Here's the trophy," and it was like, "Oh, nice, yeah, okay, good." Yeah, that wasn't great, but this one it looked like
You're not joking, are you?
no, no, but it looked more like what would
This
be
is
like
a sick joke.
an it looked like maybe an MVP trophy at best, like because that's what I'm saying. These kind of like industry awards one, it's like the classic thing of like a little
They
bit of
like
like
they fit in a player's hand, a single hand. It's not a trophy at that point. It's like a little memento.
literally this ones I'm thinking of like these industry things or whatever. That the typical thing is like a little bit of like a marble or something, like a marble stand, and then a bit of glass with a printed thing on it, and it's like exactly what they what they gave them. But also that, believe it or not, is not what actually made me the most annoyed. But the fact that in most regions that trophy got lifted by all 3 bracket winners was also just really weird. Like Pacific didn't do it, so I think Pacific. I forget if Nongshim lifted the trophy or not, but like the other teams didn't lift the trophy. They just like it was like, oh, you've qualified, and then come here and take a picture next to the trophy, but not actually lift it up, which is the better of the bunch because if you win the middle bracket or you win the lower bracket, you didn't win kickoff. You won second place and you won third place, which isn't a trophy. Therefore, you shouldn't be lifting a trophy for coming second or coming third. So it's just really weird that, like, yeah, in the other regions, okay, the team that won on the Friday and won the upper bracket, they lift the trophy, great. And then you win the middle bracket game to qualify, but then again you lift the trophy and it's the same trophy. And then yeah, the teams that win the lower bracket after they've lost 2 matches and then they finally win one and then they lift the trophy as well. It's just really weird. It's just they presented it as though it was 3 winners, but one of them, it's 3 winners, but one of
Yeah.
them's got a better seeding for the Masters or whatnot. Like it just didn't feel like someone won kickoff. Like it didn't feel like Furia won America's kickoff. It feels like they kind of presented it as though the 3 teams won their brackets and Furia is the best seed. It was just really, really strange.
Hmm.
So I could maybe understand a little bit more because the thing where I sympathise with Riot a little bit is that where they've done this format, and I like the format, and that kind of 3-day weekend thing, it was exciting to watch it. Wouldn't want to be a player that played 3 best of 5s in a row, but it was. I like the format, but then I get that they have the issue there in this kind of triple elim, the way you want to progress it, that you have the final on Friday, and then great, the team lifts the trophy, and then if the rest are just matches that happen and it's not as much of a grand thing, then like the peak of the most exciting moment has happened before the end of the tournament, and then so you have the winner crowned on Friday, and that's your big moment. But then you also have 2 more game days after that, which are going to be as kind of look like less stakes. So I think for that reason, they've kind of built it as the main thing you're going for kickoff is qualification for Masters. And the third match, the third day, is the most exciting because it's the final chance. And then they won the final chance and they lift the trophy. So I get why they've kind of done it for that reason, but it just looks ridiculous that, yeah, you come third and lift the same trophy that a team that won the actual upper bracket. Just silly. We're talking about upper bracket winners. That's also known as the team that won the bloody tournament. We can just call them the winners of the tournament. We don't have to call them upper bracket winners. Ridiculous. So yeah, there's my big complaint.
I think everything you said was pretty darn fair. I agree with you. I think that for Pacific, at least, I saw pictures of people holding the trophy,
Yeah,
so
so
it
at
means there
least
might
I
have
went and
not been a
watched back
lift on stream.
the Paper X one just to double check one of them, and they didn't lift it. So I don't
There was
think.
definitely one for T1, so there was definitely one for T1. I remember seeing that one, but I'm not sure about the Nongshim one for sure. Because I saw like pictures of them, but I couldn't find the place in the stream. It was also really laggy, like
It may
Twitch
even be
issues
that,
or
to be fair, maybe that Paper X
something. But yeah.
chose not to lift the trophy. Well, I think that would be
I
fair.
mean, to
Like,
be fair, it's an ugly trophy. If I managed to barely qualify to Santiago, I'd be more
also
interested in
as
hugging my
competitors,
teammates
like
rather than
if you watch, and this is probably relevant now as well, like with the Winter Olympics going on. Actually, maybe not as much with the Olympics, because I know getting an Olympic medal is a big thing. But in most sports,
The medals look nice. Like they look
yeah.
consistent. Let's be real.
But I'm just thinking, like as a football fan, especially whenever you watch a big final, and the team that loses, when there's going to be the trophy celebration, the losing team, they come out first, and usually they're given a medal that's like a runner-up medal. And what you see is almost every player, especially if it's like an elite competition where these are like the best players in the world, they have to officially. There's like some person from the federation or some government person that's there giving each person putting it over their head. And what happens is the players go like this, get the medal, turn away, and just take the medal off immediately because they don't want to celebrate being second because they want to win, and being second is to them isn't winning. I get that here it's wider implications of like going to Masters and whatever, so there is something to celebrate obviously, but I wouldn't be surprised even if from PaperX's perspective they've looked at this and gone, well, we've come third, we should be the best team in this league, so finishing third seed is not, we shouldn't be lifting a trophy for this. So maybe just pure speculation, but wouldn't surprise me.
I don't see PaperX putting that much drama. I would be very surprised if they did, but I can
it wouldn't
see
even be
some
drama.
teams
It
for
could be like a motivation thing. If you're Alex, you use that to motivate him. You say, look, guys, we didn't win this trophy. You're not lifting a trophy for coming third. You lift a trophy when you win a tournament.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm
depends,
pretty sure after watching Alex that last series, I was pretty sure bro was like, "Get me out of here! Fucking let's just finish this and get to Santiago, guys."
Maybe that's why, because otherwise it takes too long. They got to take turns lifting the trophy one by one. Let's have a picture. Call it a day. Anyway, so let's hope. So I'm guessing second place at Masters Santiago isn't going to lift a trophy, or third place either. I'm gonna go out on a limb and make a bold prediction of that.
We've only seen one trophy, and I mean, it's not the worst one, but it's not the best one. Like, Toronto had the best trophy last year. I think year before that, I don't know. I mean, all of these plain Masters trophies are kind of mid. I like Madrid as well. Madrid looked very pretty with the butterflies from Clove. So, and even Shanghai, Master Shanghai was nice. It had like the ISO's dimensional design on it. So I don't know. I mean, this is probably related to the new agents as well. We've already gotten some leaks. We've seen he's Croatian and shit. I don't know. I hope he or she or they or whatever is another one to add to the roster in terms of they're always overtuned. So yeah, probably gonna be a good thing to pick up in the beginning. But I'm very excited for the new agent. I think the meta could use some shaking up. It'll be exciting, especially if it's an agent with a teleport, it's gonna be busted. Like all of these AWP get out of jail agents are just so broken right now. It's wild.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's see how it looks then. Right, so there's nothing else to complain about now. I think I'm done with my gripes for the day. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining me, Zach. Enjoy your time in Santiago.
Oh god, it's like a 40-hour flight, Lee. That's the fastest flight. That's what I gotta tell you. I saw PaperX players bitching about 37-hour flights, and I was like, it made me feel better, you know? If a pro team who gets probably more expensive, more direct flights also takes 37 hours, I feel better about spending 40 hours on a flight.
Yep, I would too. I'll be comfortably at home, not having to. I couldn't imagine the stress of that. How many layovers are you looking at? Do you reckon?
2, one in Kuala Lumpur and one in Sydney. Before I go, my last flight is a scary flight. It goes all the way over Point Nemo. It flies right from Sydney to Santiago. So it's a 15-hour bloody flight over the ocean. You know, at one point you fly over, you're closer to the land on the moon than you are to any landmass that's around you. It's called Point Nemo. You fly past Point Nemo on this flight. Yeah.
I've never heard of
at that point you're closer to the fucking moon than you are to any of the landmasses. You're closer to the moon than Australia or New Zealand or Asia Pacific or South America. It's creepy, you know, because every other flight that I take is way more expensive because of the last minute booking, but this one might be cheaper, but it is a bit scary. I don't think I've taken a 15-hour flight yet. All the ones I've taken have been 10 hours or 12 hours tops.
Ah, well, you've trained for it then. Might be much different.
I can sleep anywhere. I just hope if I'm gonna crash in the middle of the ocean, I die fast. It's like my prayer. You know, I'm kind of worried about it, but I hope I'll be fine. Pray for me.
Yeah, we'll hope it doesn't come to that. I'm sure it won't. Don't worry.
Yes, pray for me. Viewers, please drop a prayer.
Yeah, you know why? That'll be on my conscience otherwise. Can't be having that.
Oh, why? If anyone, it should be on the reason why I'm going so
Oh
late.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
there were
yeah.
cheaper flights that went through fucking Europe and New York, but that were like cheaper than the one that I'm taking right now. This is just the most expeditious one that's also cheap.
Yeah.
Like
True.
all the flights that go through Europe and NA are like $300 more. So
You convinced me. My conscience is clear, no matter what happens. But we'll hope for the best.
you are okay.
We'll hope for
You
the
are
best.
freed. You are freed.
Yes,
You
thank
are
you.
freed of my. You are absolved. Yes, that's the word.
Thank you. I'm glad I had that ahead of time, just in case. Cheers. Well, yeah, best of luck. Hopefully it all goes well. And yeah, we'll probably catch up with everybody once the tournament's over. We'll see you then.
Yeah, who knows? I might be joining you from Santiago. God knows what time difference we'll have then, but it'll probably be the same time difference, just like
Not
inverted.
that amazing. Yeah, not that mad.
7
Let's see.
hours, 6 hours, 8 hours? I don't know. We'll
We'll
find
figure it
out.
out. We'll figure it out. Yeah,
The
thanks for
seasons are
listening.
flipped. It's like all now, so yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like a few hours ahead. I don't think it's too mad. We'll figure it out. But yeah, we'll see you then. And thanks for listening.